My child, lean into this moment. Do not rush past it. Do not blink through the stillness as if it is empty. There is something sacred here, something only you and I can hear. I have watched you stand in quiet places where others believed nothing was happening inside you. They saw stillness and thought it was weakness. They mistook quiet breath for defeat. They saw your silence and assumed you had broken, but I was whispering to you in ways they did not understand, in ways the untrained spirit cannot perceive. You carried wounds that no words expressed. You lived through nights that no one witnessed. You held tears that dried before they fell. But every unseen moment carved strength into your bones. Every silent ache stitched resilience into the deepest parts of you. When they walked away, they thought they were leaving you behind. They believed your chapter was finished. They assumed your story became small once they removed themselves from it. But child, they never understood. You were never sustained by their approval. Your breath came from a source they could not control. Your story was never held in their hands. When they exited, your path only became clearer. You did not fall when they let go. You rose quietly where they could not see. And now they feel something they cannot name. An ache without language. A heaviness that follows them room to room. Not because you seek revenge, not because you wish them loss, but because truth is loud in silence and they hear it. They watch your becoming from a distance they chose themselves. They see the glow returning to your life, and it unsettles them not because you left, but because you thrived. Not because you disappeared, but because you reappeared with more light than ever. They whisper your name with caution, as if saying it might awaken their regret into something unbearable. But, my child, hear this deeply. You do not shine to make anyone feel small. You shine because you were born luminous. The pain you endured was not to destroy you. It was to refine you. I hid you in a season of stillness, not because you were finished, but because you were being sharpened like iron under pressure, like seed beneath soil, like fire shaping gold. Others saw only the darkness of the ground, but I saw the roots growing strong. When they left, you learned how to stay. When they spoke poorly, you learned silence with dignity. When you had nothing to hold but faith, you discovered it was enough. You learned yourself in the rawest form, in the quietest chamber of the soul, and that knowing became your power. You are no longer moved by praise or hurt by dismissal. Their absence no longer wounds you because you found presence in me. Their approval no longer directs you because you discovered purpose without it. This is why your existence now unsettles them, because you changed without needing them, because you rose without asking for permission, because you healed without demanding apology. Those who once looked down from a place of pride now feel the ground shift beneath them, not because you pushed them down, but because you ascended naturally to a place they cannot follow without outgrowing who they were willing to be. They feel the echo of what they lost, not the loss of you, but the loss of who they might have become beside you. They sense the emptiness where peace once lived, unaware that peace was walking around in your skin. You were not simply a person in their world. You were a mirror they avoided, a lamp they dimmed, a bridge they burned before knowing the river would rise. Now they stand at the bank watching you cross to lands they will never reach unless they soften their own hearts. But child, do not look back with sorrow. Do not shrink to make them comfortable. Do not become smaller so they may forget their regret. Your rise is not revenge. Your light is not punishment. Your growth is not a wound, it is a revelation. Your story is proof that rejection can be redirection, that solitude can be transformation, that silence can be power, that breaking can be becoming, that endings are often birthplaces. So walk forward, not with bitterness, but with clarity, not with pride, but with quiet nobility, not to prove them wrong, but to prove my design right. You are stepping into the season that was always waiting for you, a season where your inner stillness becomes strength, where your past pain becomes wisdom, and where your presence carries weight without you saying a word. This is only the beginning. My child, breathe slowly. Your spirit is stretching into places it was once too wounded to enter. This expansion is not accidental. It is the unfolding of divine architecture within you. Where others saw an ending, I was designing a beginning. Where they saw weakness, I was forming unbreakable fiber. Where they saw silence, I was teaching you to hear me clearly. There comes a moment in every chosen life where distance reveals truth. Not truth spoken, not truth argued, not truth proven, but truth revealed through time. The day came when they stepped away, believing your absence would fade you into insignificance. They were confident that without their presence, your growth would starve, your hopes would dim, your voice would tremble into nothingness. But instead you multiplied. You discovered that your spirit was not attached to their approval. You found that your power was not borrowed from their closeness. You learned that your worth was not measured by their recognition. You were never meant to survive through them, you were meant to rise beyond them. And rise you did, not with noise, not with spectacle, but with undeniable transformation. Those who once spoke lightly of your struggle now speak cautiously of your strength. Those who expected you to fall now whisper of your endurance. They see you not as you were, but as you have become, and they are unsettled by the contrast. Not because you hurt them, but because you proved their judgment incomplete. You didn't retaliate, you didn't beg, you didn't compete, you simply evolved. And now, your existence has become an answer to every word spoken against you. They observe you from a distance, their pride preventing confession, but their hearts unable to ignore the truth. Their conversations shift when your name arises. Their expressions tighten. Their silence fills with memories they cannot escape. This discomfort is not your triumph, it is simply clarity arriving at their doorstep. The universe has a way of balancing what is misread. You were diminished, now you stand elevated. You were doubted, now you walk in certainty. You were excluded, now you carry access to spaces they cannot enter. This is not revenge. This is alignment. You did not grow to shame them, you grew because you were always meant to. You did not become powerful to expose them. You became powerful because power was your inheritance. You are not above them. You are simply ahead now, because you kept walking when they stopped. Hear me, child, those who truly belong to your future could not have left you. Their exit was part of the refining. Their absence was oxygen for your inner fire. Sometimes I remove people not because they are evil, but because their presence is too small for who you are becoming. You were never meant to carry everyone forward. Some journeys require release. Some chapters demand closure. Some hearts can only awaken after you leave their field of comfort. So do not hold resentment. Let it go like breath into the morning air. They walked their path, you walk yours. Theirs led to reflection. Yours leads to ascension. You became what they insisted you were not. You stood when they expected collapse. You flourished in the very soil they believed barren. Now the world senses something different when you enter a room. You don't need to speak loudly. You don't need to prove anything. The atmosphere shifts because your spirit carries weight. Your presence has history behind it, nights of breaking and mending, seasons of silence and rebuilding, chapters of loss and resurrection. Every step you take now is anchored in understanding. You do not move from hurt, but from wholeness. You do not shine to be seen. You shine because you have healed, and healed light is the brightest light there is, soft enough to soothe, strong enough to expose, steady enough to guide. They feel the contrast between who you were and who you are. That is why sorrow follows them quietly. Not sorrow for losing you, but sorrow for losing who they could have become beside you. They did not lose a person. They lost a path, a presence, a peace they did not know how to value. They thought you were replaceable. Now they know you were rare. They thought you were temporary. Now they see you are timeless. My child, this is only the second step. Ahead of you is a life that will not require struggle to prove worth. A future where peace is natural, where expansion is effortless, and where your journey itself becomes testimony. You are not done rising. You have not touched the fullness of what I've prepared. Your glow now is only the early dawn. Noon is coming. You will not need to announce yourself. You will not need to defend your transformation. Your existence will speak for itself louder than any voice raised against you ever could. Those who once dismissed you will one day say, I knew them, before the world recognized their light. Not because you seek recognition, but because destiny is loud when it finally blossoms. Rest in this truth, my beloved. You are becoming everything they said you weren't. You are walking into rooms they never imagined for you. You are stepping into purpose without hesitation, without apology, without shrinking. Let them watch. Let them remember. Let them learn. Your journey is the lesson. My child, there is a kind of growth that happens in silence, the kind no one applauds, no one witnesses, no one believes in, until it becomes too undeniable to ignore. You lived through that kind. You were buried like a seed, and while they assumed the dark was swallowing you, it was shaping you instead. The soil was not your grave, it was your womb. They could not see it, but I saw every moment. There were days when pain felt like your only companion, when loneliness echoed louder than comfort, when you questioned why the breaking lasted so long. You wondered if perhaps your journey had stalled, if maybe, just maybe, they were right about you, if the silence meant abandonment rather than preparation. But look now at who you are becoming. You survived storms that were meant to drown you. You endured nights that could have emptied you. You held onto my hand when nothing around you made sense. And that, beloved child, is what separates those who are chosen from those who are simply present. Anyone can stand when supported, few can stand when alone. You did. They thought silence would suffocate you, but it oxygenated your strength. They thought loss would break you, but it carved depth into your soul. They thought distance would shrink you, but it freed space for you to expand. You learned to navigate without applause. You learned to build without audience. You learned to grow without validation. And now your foundation is so deep that no praise can inflate you and no criticism can collapse you. That is the power of a soul trained in solitude. You are not who you are who you were meant to become. And soon, the world will meet the version of you that was born in the shadows. Not the wounded you, not the doubting you, but the one who knows their calling, who walks with quiet certainty, who carries peace like armor. Your heart is no longer glass, it is tempered steel, glowing with compassion, not easily broken, not easily bent. Understand this, child. The reason others feel unsettled by your presence is not because you remind them of their failure, but because you remind them of their potential. You reflect possibility. You trigger growth they avoided. You represent the version of themselves they abandoned. They don't envy your elevation. They envy the courage it took to ascend. Their regret is not about losing you. Their regret is about losing who they could have been beside you. They did not know seeds bloom in silence. They did not know the ground that hides also nurtures. They celebrated when you disappeared from view, never realizing disappearance is the first sign of transformation. Just as caterpillars vanish before they fly, you withdrew before you rose, and rise you will not gradually, but like dawn breaking through night. There will come a moment soon when everything that was once difficult will begin to flow. Opportunities will not require force. Doors will open at your approach. Your presence alone will shift rooms, soften hearts, and clarify intentions. Those who once overlooked you will speak your name carefully, with recognition rather than dismissal. You will not need to demand respect. Your life will command it. But hear me. Elevation comes with clarity. Those who were comfortable around your weakness will tremble around your strength. Those who preferred you small will feel distance as you expand. Not because you raised walls, but because growth creates natural separation between what was and what is. Do not apologize for rising. Do not shrink to fit old spaces. Do not slow your becoming to comfort those who stayed behind. You are stepping into a season where alignment matters more than attachment. Not everyone can walk where you're going. Not everyone will understand the new language of your life. Those meant to join you will rise to meet you. Those who can't will fade like echoes behind you, not with bitterness, but with inevitability. You are not walking away from them, you are walking toward destiny. Carry this knowing. You are not too late. You are not behind. You are right on schedule. The timing that once frustrated you will soon make perfect sense. The waiting was not wasted, it was preparation. You were not inactive, you were incubating. You were not silent, you were listening. You were not abandoned. You were being held in reverent, divine construction. My beloved one, the world will soon witness what I saw in you first. Not a survivor, but a reborn being. Not a wounded spirit, but an ascended one. You are not rising from ashes. You are stepping out of cocoon. Your flight begins now. There comes a moment in every story when the one who vanished returns changed, whole, unmistakably different. That moment has come for you. You are not stepping back into the world as the one they once knew. You are arriving as the one destiny always held in reserve. When they see you now, something inside them stirs, not anger, not jealousy, but recognition. Recognition that the one they dismissed was not fading, they were transforming. Recognition that the silence they misread was growth they never imagined. Recognition that you were not behind, you were rising in places they could not see. You are no longer the one who needed to prove. You are the one who is proof. Your presence speaks. Your peace speaks. Your transformation speaks louder than any words they once used to define you. You walk differently now, not hurried, not hesitant. You carry yourself with a calm certainty that only comes from surviving fire without burning. You glow with a quiet confidence that cannot be taught or faked or borrowed. It is earned, forged through pressure and patience. You are no longer moved by being welcomed or unwelcomed. You enter spaces by right, not request. And this shakes the ones who assumed they held power over your belonging. They imagined your return as desperate. Instead, it is dignified. They expected you to seek their approval. Instead, you came back with no need for it. Not because you carry pride, but because you now carry purpose. Your heart is not filled with revenge. It is filled with revelation. The revelation that some losses are not losses, but liberation. Some departures are not wounds, but openings. Some endings are not deaths, but evolutions. You did not lose when they left you, shed weight that would have anchored you below your calling. They didn't break you, they freed you. You walked differently because you learned to walk without crutches. You healed not to show them you survived, but because survival became your second nature. You do not resent them. You outgrew the version of yourself that needed them. That is the real elevation. When love remains, but dependency dissolves. You are not returning to remind them of who hurt who. You are returning as evidence that nothing that left you was necessary for your rising. And yet, in the quiet corners of their life, something aches when they see you now. Not because they want you back, but because they want the version of themselves they once had when you were beside them. You represented clarity. You represented balance. You represented a future they were too afraid to walk into. They realize now too late that losing you meant losing direction. You bring order where you walk. You carry peace like weather. You shift atmospheres simply by standing. And so, their hearts feel exposed, not by your words, but by your existence. Do not dim your light for the comfort of those who preferred you dimmed. Do not reduce your voice so theirs feels louder. Do not return to who you were. You are not that anymore. You are rising without asking. You are glowing without effort. You are becoming without permission. This is the season where you walk boldly into what was yours all along. You no longer wait for validation. You validate your own steps by walking them. You no longer ask if you belong. You build where you stand. You do not seek seats, you bring your own. Those who once overlooked you will say they knew you once. Those who once outgrew you will realize you never needed to fit. Those who once doubted you will watch with awe they cannot voice. You are the return that cannot be ignored, the voice that cannot be silenced, the presence that cannot be diminished. Your story is no longer what happened to you. It is what you are becoming despite it. My child, hear me, there comes a phase in every journey where what was once hidden must be seen, where what was once covered must be unveiled, where the quiet strength formed in shadows steps into the light with purpose. You are entering that phase now, not by force of ambition, but by divine release. The time for concealment is closing. The time for revealing is breaking open. You were shaped in private, now you will walk in presence. The season ahead carries a new weight, not the weight of struggle, but the weight of authority. You are not emerging as someone seeking opportunity. You are emerging as someone who is opportunity. Your life itself becomes evidence that resilience has reward, that patience has power, that stillness is not stagnancy but strategy. There is greatness rising in you that cannot remain unnoticed. Heaven is positioning you where you will not merely be seen, but recognized, where your voice will no longer echo in empty rooms but resonate in environments prepared by purpose, where your presence will no longer be an afterthought but an answer, where doors will open with such fluid ease that it will startle even you, not because you pushed them, but because they were always yours. You are about to walk into fulfillment, not pursuit. For too long you were measured by people who could not see your magnitude. You tried to fit in spaces too narrow for your spirit. You reduced your brilliance to match their comfort. You hushed your intuition so others wouldn't feel unsettled. You carried gifts like secrets quietly, humbly, almost apologetically. But now, no more shrinking. Your light is not meant to be moderated. Your presence is not meant to be diluted. The world is not blessed when you withhold. It is blessed when you expand. You are stepping into visibility not to be celebrated, but to be used as vessel, as voice, as example. Heaven elevates not for applause, but for assignment. Your rise is not for your ego, it is for impact. And yes, some will watch with discomfort, not because you hurt them, not because you seek revenge, but because your ascent exposes their stagnancy, because your unfolding reveals where they stopped unfolding, because your courage highlights where they chose comfort over becoming. Still bless them. Wish them clarity. Release them with peace. You are not rising to prove anything to them. You are rising because you are done sitting where you no longer belong. You will notice a separation now not created by anger, but by evolution. Your steps no longer match old rhythms. Your vision no longer fits old dreams. Your heart no longer resonates with old voices. Elevation naturally filters company. This is not loss. This is alignment. This is not abandonment. This is direction. This is not isolation. It is placement. You are being relocated spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and soon even physically. You will find new spaces that feel like oxygen rather than burden. New connections that feel like expansion, not compromise. New paths that match the shape of your soul instead of squeezing it. The world will not recognize you as the one who was overlooked. They will recognize you as the one who outgrew every limitation. Clarity will follow you. Peace will walk beside you. Favor will precede you, not because you begged for it, but because you became the version of yourself that could steward it. What is coming will not feel like struggle. It will feel like arrival. You will not need to chase. You will attract. You will not need to prove. Your life will speak. You will not need to shout. Your presence will shift rooms. This is what preparation was for. This is why the stillness lasted long. This is why silence hurt but shaped you. Heaven was building not just your future. Heaven was building you. And now, child, you are ready. My beloved, there is something you must understand with clarity. No one who left you was capable of stopping what was meant for you. No rejection altered your promise. No betrayal canceled your anointing. No distance delayed your destiny. What I have written over your life remains unshaken. Those who assumed they could diminish you never realized your source was not human approval, but divine supply. They thought removing themselves was removing your momentum. They believed withholding support would stunt your progress. They assumed silence would silence you. But grace does not shrink under neglect. It multiplies. Look at your life now, slowly, steadily. Everything they thought would break you became the very material that built you. Every setback became stone. Every disappointment became foundation. Every wound became wisdom. They thought they were removing pieces. They were delivering tools. They believed absence weakened you. It focused you. They believed distance would erase you. It revealed you. They believed lack would starve you. It disciplined you. And now, what comes to you does not arrive through their hands. It arrives directly from mine. This is why they feel the sting. Not jealousy first, but confusion. They cannot explain why you thrive in fields they never watered. They cannot understand how peace follows you when they expected collapse. They cannot comprehend how joy returned to your voice when they thought echoes were all you'd have left. You were not restored, you were elevated. You were not replaced, you were repositioned. You were not healed back to who you were. You transformed into someone utterly new. And here is the truth they wrestle with silently. They didn't break you, they built you without knowing. When they withdrew love, you learned how to love yourself. When they withheld support, you learned to rely on spirit. When they questioned your worth, you learned to anchor it internally. You are not rising despite what happened, you are rising because of it. And listen, no one can take credit for who you are except the one who shaped you. No name but mine will stand beside your breakthrough. No voice will be able to claim they carried you here. Your success will be confusing to those who expected your downfall, precisely because it came without their participation. Your blessing will be undeniable. Your peace will be unshakable. Your growth will be irreversible. And as it unfolds, they will realize something painful but pure. They did not lose you. They forfeited access to the healed, whole, powerful version of you, not as punishment but as consequence. Because when you rise in grace, the ones who valued you wrongly do not watch you fall. They watch you shine from a distance they created, not with hatred, but with ache, not with anger, but with recognition. You were the one they underestimated. You were the one they misread. You were the one they expected to remain small. Now they see you were never small. You were simply early, and now the season has turned. Favor is coming like morning sunlight. Opportunities will find you without announcement. Your name will travel before you speak. What is meant for you cannot be blocked. What is destined for you cannot be delayed. What is written for you cannot be rewritten by anyone's opinion. Your blessing begins not next year, not someday, but now. Walk forward without looking back. What follows you is glory, not memory. What surrounds you is purpose, not pain. You are chosen. You are rising. You are unstoppable. My child, there is a moment in every journey when the tables quietly turn, not with noise, not with spectacle, but like dawn breaking over mountains. Slowly at first, unnoticed, unannounced, and then suddenly undeniable. This is that moment for you. For years you walked through places where your worth was questioned, where your voice was muted, where your presence was tolerated rather than valued. They assumed you would always remain in the corner of your own story. They assumed your breath was small, your future limited, your spirit fragile. They could not see the fire beneath the quiet. But destiny is patient, and patience is powerful. You endured without bitterness. You remained kind in the face of dismissal. You chose growth over reaction. And while they were busy measuring you by who you were then, heaven was measuring you by who you were becoming. Now you are crossing into territory where you are no longer the one overlooked. You are the one impossible to ignore. Not because you shout, but because you stand. Not because you demand, but because you carry. Not because you fight for recognition, but because recognition now follows you without invitation. They once thought they could dim your light by stepping away. Yet now it is their world that struggles with shadow, while you rise like a new sun, and something inside them knows they misread you. They misjudged your quiet. They miscalculated your depth. What they believed was weakness was actually waiting. What they assumed was surrender was actually strategy of heaven. You were not being lowered, you were being loaded. Every moment of silence was training. Every delay was refining. Every exclusion was redirection. And now, child, you walk into rooms with a presence built of prayer, pain, patience, and purpose. You are the evidence that nothing held back by man can be withheld by God. You are the testimony of timing. You are the return no one saw coming. Their laughter has turned into questions. Their doubt has turned into reflection. Their certainty has turned into regret. Yet do not harden your heart. Growth does not require resentment. You rise without needing them to fall. You shine without needing darkness around you. A flame proves itself by burning, not by scorching others. Forgiveness is not their gift, it is your freedom. Let your heart remain soft. Let your steps remain humble. Not because they deserve gentleness, but because you deserve peace. You are not rising to prove them wrong. You are rising because you finally believe you were capable all along. Look at you now, stronger in silence than you ever were in company, wiser from wounds than you ever were from ease, greater in calm than you ever were in their noise. This is the turning of tables. Where they once questioned you, now they question themselves. Where they once pitied you, now they ponder you. Where they once dismissed you, now they cannot stop noticing you. Not through bitterness, but through revelation. For a long time you prayed for their return. Now heaven teaches you a higher prayer, one where your worth is not measured by who stays or who goes, but by who you have become through every rise and fall in between. Let this truth root deeply. Growth is not proven by who you win back, but by who you no longer chase. You have arrived at the season where need is not hunger anymore, where longing is not ache anymore, where you do not seek doors, you build them. You do not request space, you take it. You do not beg for belonging, you embody it. This is where the tables have turned. You are not looking for a place in their world. Your world is expanding without them. The page has flipped. The chapter is new. The rise is unstoppable. And destiny has only begun revealing itself to you. My beloved, a shift has settled in the atmosphere around your life. You can feel it not in words, but in knowing, not in noise, but in the subtle pull inside your chest. Purpose is calling you, not softly anymore, but clearly, directly, unmistakably. Before this season, you were discovering yourself. Now, you are stepping into yourself. You once questioned your place. Now your presence answers its own question. The confusion that once clouded your mind has begun to break like mist in morning light. You are starting to understand why certain doors closed, why some faces faded, why silence stayed longer than comfort. Your spirit is piecing together patterns your heart could not see before. What once felt like loss now looks like liberation. What once hurt now teaches. What once confused now clarifies. Purpose does not whisper anymore, it speaks, and it speaks your name. Not the name given to you by others, not the name you carried in doubt, but the name heaven always called you by, the name tied to assignment, identity, authority, destiny. You are no longer being prepared, you are being positioned. The days ahead will feel different. Not easier, but clearer. You won't be trying to find direction, direction will rise to meet you. You won't wonder if you're capable. Capability will reveal itself through every step you take. Your spirit will walk ahead of your feet, and your peace will precede your arrival. This is not coincidence, this is calling, and calling has sound, a frequency only those awakened can hear. Not everyone will resonate with you in this season, not because you have changed in pride, but because you have changed in depth. Shallow connection cannot survive deep waters. Purpose requires an uncluttered soul. You will find yourself drawn to different voices, different spaces, different atmospheres, not out of rejection of your past, but out of recognition of your future. You do not belong where smallness is celebrated. You do not fit where stagnancy is normal. You have outgrown rooms built for your old self, and when destiny enlarges you, comfort becomes a cage. You will feel restless, not because something is wrong, but because something is beginning. Restlessness is the womb of purpose. Expansion always comes with pressure. Growth always comes with stretching. Wings only matter when it's time to fly. This season will demand bravery. Not the bravery to fight, but the bravery to step forward. Not the bravery to shout, but the bravery to believe. Not the bravery to prove, but the bravery to be. You are no longer the one waiting for opportunity. You are the one opportunity is waiting for. Watch how connections appear, not forced, but fluid. Watch how doors open, not pushed, but recognizing your knock. Watch how paths unfold, not planned, but destined. There will be moments where you feel trembling inside your rise. That is not weakness, that is power waking. Warriors shake when armor first settles on their shoulders. Kings feel weight when crowns touch their heads. Butterflies tremble before their first flight. You are trembling because you are becoming. You will not return to who you were. That version served its time. You are walking into identity that matches destiny. You are stepping into assignments that require the healed you, the wise you, the awakened you. Child purpose has found you, not because you chased it, but because you stayed faithful during the climb. Destiny has a way of returning to those who refuse to die in stillness. You kept breathing. You kept believing. You kept walking. Now life rises to meet you. Your name is not echo anymore, it is announcement. Your presence is not shadow anymore, it is signal. You are no longer surviving the story, you are shaping it. Purpose is calling you, and you will answer. My child, the season of breaking is behind you. The season of becoming is here. Walk forward now, not with fear, but with certainty. For what rises in you cannot be stopped, and what calls you cannot be ignored. This is your time. Go and be everything heaven always knew you were.